So I was wasting time on the internet recently, as we tend to do, and I found the Reddit page full of unpopular opinions. So rather than disclosing my own unpopular opinions, which I'm sure there are many if I really sat down and thought about it, I'm gonna read what these people have to say because they do have a lot to say. I was gonna make a post on YouTube asking you guys to leave your unpopular opinions, but I don't accidentally want to get one of you cancelled. Although if that is what you want, again, leave it in the comments. Before we start, I'd like to say a quick thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. All right, first up, I don't care for live music. Why on earth is it so loud? Oh, mate, I'm gonna be honest, that's pissed me off a little bit. 3 years ago and I'm still mad about it. Oh, that is a them problem. He's basically gone on to say that the music quality is better in an MP3. If we were still in the 60s, it would make sense, but now that we can listen to everything all the time, it doesn't make any sense to go to live music concerts. I disagree, like the stage presence, the being in the same room as an artist that you like, the vibes from other people, everyone else singing along, all of that. Nah, I disagree with this one, straight up. This one is quite interesting. With the possibility of food shortages due to overpopulation, we should be looking into using insects as a food source. I know there's research going into this issue. Eating insects might sound yucky, but if you grind them up into powders and use seasonings and process it properly, they can be edible. Blech. But also, insects are a great source of nutrients a lot of the time. Do I want to eat them? Absolutely not. I'll be honest, but if they were, like he said, ground up into a powder, made into something like, I don't know, like same thing as like vegan meat substitutes, but with insects. Just don't tell me it's an insect and I won't care. But a lot of cultures already eat insects. There are so many of them. There's so many insects. There's way more than us. It's an uncomfortable fact that I don't like to think about, but this makes perfect sense in my opinion. Yellow is my favorite color. Yeah, I don't get that personally, but I respect it. You do you, dolls. Like yellow. Not bad. Not good, but it's not bad. I think that soggy cereal is awesome and crunchy cereal sucks. I don't know how controversial this opinion is. Rarely is there a non-grossed out person in any room where this view is expressed. Well, there's the answer to that question, I guess. God, I don't even know where I stand on half of these issues. I would happily eat crunchy or soggy cereal. Like I wait for it to get a little bit soggy. Still like a little bit of crunch. I'm a Libra. I like to be in the middle. I think that's what Libra means. Opposite end of the spectrum here, I don't put any milk in my cereal and people think I'm weird for that too. Gotta be right in the middle apparently. I think that's a little bit weird, but you eat literally whatever you want, including insects. We're not above it on this channel and we've just found that out today. We're gonna have a quick intermission to say thank you to the sponsor of this video, Skillshare. If you didn't already know, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes for creative and curious people. I did struggle to say curious and we have no excuse for that. I know a lot of you, because you leave it in the comments or message me personally, ask about how to start a YouTube channel. I think it's quite a common thing that people nowadays like to get into, is just making content in general. So I've gone on Skillshare because you can quite literally learn anything. Skillshare covers so many different topics. Here are just a few: animation, creative writing, film and video, fine art, graphic design, illustration, music, photography, business analytics, management, marketing. Like there's you get the gist, right? There's a lot of things. But I've gone ahead and found you guys a video that I think could be helpful. It's called YouTube Success, Script, Shoot and Edit with MKBHD. It's hosted by Marcus Brownlee. I hope I'm not butchering that, but he is a YouTuber, so he obviously has a lot of valid things to say that come from experience. Now this covers everything from scripting your videos to planning your visuals to hooking in your audience, all the way through to like growing your channel in general. So really helpful for people who are just starting out. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, the first 1,000 people to use the link in my description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership, and after that it's only around $10 a month. And thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video and supporting the channel. This one has 3 bullet points. 1, dogs are gross. Don't say that. Don't be nasty. Disagree. 2, talking about money should be less of a social taboo. I agree with that. Money is literally everywhere all the time. I do understand why it's not discussed openly, but also who cares? And 3, morals and principles aside, the death penalty is just more efficient. Have some qualms. All right. Okay. It's actually not more efficient and overall costs more than imprisoning people, which I also don't fully agree with, but that is a conversation for another day. I at least don't agree with how it's done and the process that is. Doesn't matter, next time. The judicial system is far from perfect. We get it wrong a lot of the time, and if you're going to take someone's life with the risk that you could be wrong, like no. I don't think the death penalty should be a thing based on that alone. What if someone is innocent, which happens a lot? That should be enough of an argument to not have the death penalty at all. It's barbaric, it's weird, it doesn't make any sense. But due to that, because of the whole like being proven innocent or guilty with a death penalty attached to it, because getting the right verdict is so important, court proceedings can be so dragged out for people on death row, they can be in prison for like 10 years before they're even sentenced to death, like just waiting to be put down essentially. That costs a lot of money. Having someone on death row is way more expensive than just putting them in jail like with everyone else. The death penalty is not cheap, it's not efficient, it's not, I don't think it's morally correct either, but that is probably up for interpretation as everything is. Piggybacking off the last one a little bit, someone should be killed if there is 100% evidence that they committed the murder with the intent to murder. I don't think 100% evidence is ever possible without like a willing and able confession with details and forensics and this and that. It just seems weird to punish someone for murdering someone else by murdering them to prove the point that murdering is wrong. It's a little bit off. I don't like the Game of Thrones opening song. It's repetitive and uninventive. Sounds like something a 13-year-old with a Casio keyboard would play. Very specific, but yeah, dun, 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 is not the best, but it does work. Got me G'd up every time I watched it, so agree to disagree. I think absolutely everybody wants to be liked by others and I don't care what anyone thinks is the biggest lie ever. I would agree. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's up there, with the disclaimer that sometimes you really just don't care what certain people think. And some people do walk through life not being as affected by the opinions of anyone, but I think I don't care what anyone thinks. No one on the planet. I think that's a bit of a lie. There is a group of people whose opinions I do value, and then the rest I'm like, whatever. What is on the outside does matter. I mean, factually, yes, I think they have a point. Pretty privilege is a thing. Pretty privilege is actually very much a thing. Like, you are more likely to get jobs if you're attractive. You are more likely to be considered trustworthy if you're attractive. It's a whole ass thing. It's very interesting. Is it the only thing that matters? No, because I personally think being charismatic and being nice and having like providing value in other ways is more important and overrides that. But if we're talking just on like first impression basis, not digging too far below the surface, then yeah, I think what's on the outside does matter to other people more than we're willing to admit. Okay, this one says, what unpopular opinions do you have about Australia? That's very specific. We'll dive into that. Sauce goes in the fridge unless you like it watery and thin. What a weirdly specific unpopular opinion to have. I'm gonna piss someone off with this, but sauce goes in the fridge. It does. It says refrigerate after opening. So refrigerate after opening. And it's like, oh, it makes my things cold. Heat it up. Heat it up, leave it out for a bit, think ahead, I don't know, sort yourself out. Fight with me in the comments, fight with everyone in the comments, sauce goes in the fridge. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi is the cringiest chant ever. I agree, but I will also not stop doing it. I enjoy it very much. I also think it's a lot better than just chanting USA over and over again or whatever the UK does, I don't know. Murdoch isn't as influential as some people, especially here on Reddit, like to think he is. Hard disagree with that one. Spend any amount of time in Queensland and you'll understand why that's not true. Also, the list of like newspapers and just media related companies that this guy owns and the influence he has over especially conservative areas, absolutely insane. No one person should have that much influence over a population or over elections for that matter. Vegemite is disgusting. No. I mean, I get it, but no. Also, jar of Vegemite's always here. Been dipping into it recently. But also, not really an unpopular opinion. Vegemite has always been quite polarizing. That's enough of the Australia ones. Let's go back to whatever this is. Don't have a kid when you can't afford one. Yeah, that makes sense. That checks out. Big Bang Theory is a horrible show. Already not an unpopular opinion and justified in that. Don't even need to read the rest of that comment. I believe the list goes as follows. Old people shouldn't be able to drive. People should have to take tests in order to be parents, and Nickelback is really not that bad. I agree with the last one. The first two, there's a lot going on. Old people who do not have the capacity anymore to drive shouldn't be able to drive. That goes for anyone who can't drive. People should have to take tests in order to be parents is an interesting one that has been proposed many, many times before. Sounds a bit like eugenics though. Sounds like that'll just turn into eugenics again, as it always does. We cannot be trusted with something like that without turning it into eugenics every goddamn time. That mustaches and monocles aren't amazing and don't make something automatically proper. I don't know. I'm so thrown by this comment. This is such a niche comment that is so not discussed by anyone ever that I don't know how it could be either popular or unpopular. Well, we'll just pin that one there and that's where he is. Cleanse the earth of baby boomers to solve a large portion of the Western world's problems. A, I don't think that would work the way that you think it's going to, and B, that's just not genocide, but senocide is when you kill old people. But what's the big group version of that? I didn't want to have killing old people word in my search history, but senocide is one, geronticide is another. I don't know how my videos always end up in some kind of place like this. I like Nickelback. I think, look, the whole Nickelback thing was just a meme that honestly, I think everyone just started hating them because it was such a meme to hate them. They're not that bad. They have a lot of good songs. I might listen to it on the drive home in about 5 minutes. All right, my battery is dying, so this is the last one we're gonna go with. I believe undesirable babies should be left on a mountainside to fend to the wolf. What? Okay, we're gonna leave that where it is. That was weird. That ended weird. I'm really sorry about that. But that's all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm scared. If you're new here, I give shout outs at the end of every video to people who subscribe and put the bell on. And today that shout out goes to Kiara Shepherd. Thank you guys for subscribing, commenting, existing in this part of the internet at all. I'm gonna decompress from that last little comment, and I'll see you in a few days with a new video.